Okay, welcome to a Tuesday night shiur. Let's get pumping. All right. We have after the shiur, we have a siur Masechet Ta'anit from Yehoshua Ba'atzmo B'chvodo. See, I remember when the whole world was against this boy. I don't like to praise people. He's not my favorite. He always asks me, am I your favorite? He's not my favorite. Now, he can think that, but that's already a different thing. Now, people said, give up. You don't need him. He's such a daddy son. He does this shtiel, that shtiel. How long are you going to run after him like a dreidel? And this is when I was younger, a lot younger. So my jaw was higher. What happens when your jaw is higher? You actually have the time to tolerate this kind of craziness. Now, I have much less of a job, but if this kind of clientele would come, I would say, I don't have time. I don't have time anymore for you. Because it's just different things. Even though I have to work on myself to always have time for these kind of people. Because look, Siur Masechet, married, had a daughter, has kids, Ta'arav Mishpacha, Baruch Hashem, no? Every Jew counts, every human counts, not just Jews. Judaism is not only about Jews, it's a big mistake, it's a fallacy. We're not a religion. We're not a religion.
We're a race, huh?
We're not. We're godly. Everything else could be a religion.
Every Zionist just wants.
Why? Religion means, in reality, if you look at it, I'm subservient to one and that's it. Judaism is not that you're subservient, you are one with God. It's totally different. If you look at the other faiths, Christianity, I'm doomed, I'm going to hell, and if not for that Oto Ish, which we're going to talk about, he's mentioned in this week's parasha, if not for him, I cannot go to heaven. Muslims, I have to be a slave and submit to my Lord, to my God, to Allah, right? Which depends if you're a Shiite or Sunni. One of them for sure is Avodah Zarah, because one of them holds that God has face, hands, legs, because they hold they're very literal. Whatever the Quran says, it has to be. There's no metaphorically speaking. I don't know which one of them. Right? And Judaism is not like that. Judaism is all based on what? I'm gonna blow the bubble, manifestation. I know you were here, I said I'm going to talk about this topic. Judaism is all about manifestation, meditating. If you serve God just to serve God, then you're like,
robot.
I'm sorry to say you're a robot. I want to use the word slave, but you're a robot.
Well, you're a slave.
What does that mean? What does that mean? You're just passing time.
Yeah,
no, we're not. We're not slaves.
But it says that.
We're not slaves. I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that. Now, to be a slave, there's different madrega. We have to serve Hashem like a slave, but be connected to Him like a son. That's the difference. I don't want to expand too much on this topic on this week's shiur, but I want to get into the story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and Rabbi Akiva. You know, let me get a little bit of that, please. If possible. Thank you. What is Lag BaOmer? What is it?
The time that they all stopped dying. So 24,000 students, they stopped
What's
dying.
happened with Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai?
That was the day of his death, no?
Was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai part of the 24,000 students or not?
No.
So then, how is it? Thank you. How is it that only after this whole thing of the 24,000 students happened, did they stop in Lag BaOmer? Doesn't make sense, no? He came after them. The episode of the 5 Talmidim of Rabbi Akiva, that he started all over. What were the 5 Talmidim? Rabbi Meir Bar Anes, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Yehuda Bar Ilai, Rabbi Yochanan ben Zakkai, and the 5th one? No, I said that was first. Rabbi Elazar ben? Yes. Those 5 were where the Torah started to come out again, because the 24 students died. So then what is this whole thing that in Lag BaOmer, since Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai passed away, the plague stopped? Has nothing to do with each other. We're talking about years difference. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam she'akol hiya b'dvaro.
Maybe because
That's a good question, right?
I don't know the answer.
Right? I think it's a question everyone should have. But unfortunately, people don't think. They just do like a robot. So they don't have these questions. So today we're going to dissect what is this day of Lag BaOmer, why is it so special, and what is it coming to represent. Before we do this, first we have to understand who Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is.
Never mind. I just want to confirm, that's the one that went into the cave, right? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
We have to understand who Rabbi Shimon.
He began running. Why again?
We'll talk about it. He was running away from the Kesar, from the head of the Romans at that time.
Him and
So who was Moshe Rabbeinu?
Most humble man in the world.
Sorry, who was Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? Who is he? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was the direct Gilgul, higher than Nitzot, higher than just a connection of a soul going into you to fix something, but he was the Gilgul, the reincarnation of Moshe Rabbeinu. And how do we come to this conclusion? And today we're going to explain in depth. No, whoa.
The years of Torah.
No, we're going to get into it. He wasn't, the Ari doesn't say this. They have a connection, but he doesn't say this. And I'm going to tell you what the connection is today. This is going to be my chidush. It's my chidush. Not what I'm about to say. What I'm about to say is written in the Zohar, and then what I'm about to lead to is my chidush. I was thinking of this while I was driving to work today.
The question I asked.
This whole thing that I was trying to connect the whole story. We know that at the end of the Zohar Kadosh, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai writes a lot about how the Erev Rav was going to give a lot of pain to the Jewish people at the end of days. The Erev Rav is going to affect us really bad. And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai writes lengthy on it. He writes and he writes and he writes. And we know who is the one that fought for Erev Rav? Moshe Rabbeinu. It says that at the end, Moshe Rabbeinu regretted that he took out the Erev Rav, because he saw all the pain that they did. Moshe Rabbeinu also had to run away from Paro, stay in the desert, find himself in the desert, and then go back to Paro. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai ran away from the Caesar into a cave, and that's where he found himself. All of his revelations only happened in the cave. And after he came out of the cave, he came back to the world and he started uplifting the world. What's the proof to this? The Zohar brings down, Zohar Chadash, Megillat, Ruth, brings down the story I said, but I'm going to say it very fast, that there was once a plague, and Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai goes to that town because one of his friends asked him to go, and he saw so many people dying, and he said to Shamayim, he said, Kadosh Baruch Hu, I'm here. The plague has to stop. And the plague stopped. And this friend, student, saw this. He ran to Rabbi Meir. He said, Rabbi Meir, you know what Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai just did? He just stopped people from dying. You know what Rabbi Meir said? Someone like Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, that is like Moshe Rabbeinu, that can stop and do miracles. The Zohar says, the Ari brings down, because of this, it's written in Likutei Shas of the Ari, that from here we see that Rabbi Meir knew that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was the pure Gilgul of who? Moshe Rabbeinu, because they did the similar miracles. Go ahead.
How can you be a pure Gilgul someone by acting the exact opposite of what they described as?
Wrong. You're going to see how they're so similar.
Moshe Rabbeinu, Anav Mikol Adam.
Correct.
Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says, I'm so gadol, stop the plague. It's a seeming contradiction.
Chas
Why
v'chalila.
didn't say that according to
Chas v'chalila.
But
Knowing your worth. This is the problem with this generation. You think by belittling yourself and not appreciating your worth, you are humble. No, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. Humbleness means knowing what you're worth and realizing that it's not you, it's really God.
Give it to himself.
No, you're not listening.
he said, Hashem, I'm here.
Correct.
The plague should stop.
Why? Because he knew how holy he was,
And his chut.
and his merit that people shouldn't be dead. They shouldn't be dying. Do you understand?
I understand.
Rabbi, can I just say one thing? I'm sorry. If I'm not mistaken, the person that mentioned that he's the humblest person in the world was Moshe Rabbeinu himself. He said, I'm the most humble man in the world. Does that sound like a humble thing to say? No, but he knows his worth. He knows that he is the humblest man, not because of himself, but because Hashem gave him that attribute.
There's a machloket, some say Yoshua wrote that pasuk, but still.
Okay, let's continue.
It's not good, not for nothing.
You don't have to. Okay, let's continue, guys. I love it. What's another comparison? Not just a comparison. This is where my chidush came in. That when the Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai finished the job of Moshe Rabbeinu. How did he finish the job of Moshe Rabbeinu? When Moshe Rabbeinu went up to Shamayim to take the Torah Kedosha, to learn all the Torah Shebal, okay, who did he see? He saw Rabbi Akiva. He said to Hashem, why are you giving me the Torah? Give to Rabbi Akiva. To the point that Moshe Rabbeinu didn't even understand what Rabbi Akiva was learning. He was lost. He said, he's much greater than me. What did Hashem say? Shtok. Silence yourself. Kach alta b'machshava. This is what I thought of. Who is Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai's Rabbi? Rabbi Akiva. All the Torah that that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai learned from, he learned from who? Rabbi Akiva. Moshe Rabbeinu, all the Torah he got was from who? HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The connection of receiving the Torah was always from someone and something that was huge, humongous, great, enormous. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai got the revelation of the Zohar Kadosh. Mysticism, meditation, connection. He fixed what Moshe Rabbeinu didn't fix. How?
What was that?
By living in Eretz Yisrael and doing the mitzvot of Eretz Yisrael. That's why Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, what did he say about the Romans? He said everything they do for who? Themselves. They don't do it for Klal Yisrael. He was a Kanai just like Moshe. He said from them we don't need anything. We're Am Yisrael, we can do everything ourselves. Roads is the problem, we'll make roads. That's who Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai is. And when did he pass away? In a Hod Shebahod. What's Hod Shebahod? All the heavy gvurot. All the big judgments. Hod Shebahod is big judgment of Torah Tasod.
What do you mean by that?
And Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai passed away that day to sweeten all the judgment of the world. And that's why he said, what did he say? Yechol ani liftor et ha'olam. I can redeem, just on my zechut and my son, we can redeem the whole world from all the deen. From all the judgment of the world, we can redeem the world. That's how powerful he was. That no one else in the world can suffer, and he'll take all the suffering for the world. That was the Kedusha of who? Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. There is a story, a very nice story, that in the time of the Ari Kadosh, Maran Shulchan Aruch wanted to stop the celebration of the Hadlaka in Miron. Maran Shulchan Aruch. Why? The Chida brings down the story. Because people used to go there without kavod. They would go, they would mingle with all the women and men. people wouldn't dress respectfully. You know, on Lag BaOmer, some say you have to dress like Shabbat clothes.
Can you wear your actual Shabbat clothes?
That's exactly what I just said.
You said like Shabbat clothes.
Very nice clothes. And he wanted to stop this. And the Ari was talking to his student, and he told him, there's going to be a very big magifa, a very big tragedy in Klal Yisrael if the Maran is going to go at the end and do this. And his student said, why are you not telling them? Tell them. And he looks at me, he's like, I'm a little kid. I'm 37 years old. They're going to look at me, they're going to say, what does this kid know? Who is he? What is he? And they're not going to listen to me. So the Marfu says, I'm going to tell them. And then from here on, there's two versions of the story. Some people said Marfu, and some people said that Rabbi Shimon by himself came to him in a dream and said, don't worry, make the Mesiba, make the party, make the Hadlaka in Miron, and it's on me. I'm going to make sure there's not going to be any Pritzut. And that's what it was. They lit the Hadlaka, they all danced, and it was Besimcha. Why? Because for Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, he didn't judge the person for who he was. He saw the deeper person inside. He saw who you actually were. Well, what was so of a big connection between another huge connection that they had together was they both had a very similar case about who? Yoshka, Yamach Sheva. And I'm going to explain to you how. In this week's parasha, we see that there was a man, his father, unfortunately, whatever the case was, this lady, this girl, she wasn't a girl, she was a lady actually, she was married, and she came from the tribe of Dan. Her name was Shulamit, and she had a child from an Egyptian, a Misri. And Neshama had a pagam, had a blemish. And what happened? He cursed Hashem.
The kid.
Cursing Hashem is
It's a big no.
it's a big no-no. How do you curse Hashem? By saying the Yud Kei Vav Kei and say, I curse you. He used God's name and he cursed God, and what happened? What did Moshe Rabbeinu do? He took him out and they stoned him to death. They stoned this man to death.
What's the punishment for that type of thing?
I just said they stoned the person to
I'm
death.
saying, is that the...
We don't do any of the cardinal deaths nowadays.
No, I'm saying like, for him doing that, for him being stoned to death, was that his kapara, or does he just go to Gehenna right after?
I think it was straight to Ghana.
Yeah, that's a good question, actually.
It's a great question.
Good question.
And he definitely doesn't go to Gan Eden. I will say that his kapara is getting stoned to death.
So he doesn't get punished in the next world for doing that?
No, he does.
It's a different kind of.
Yeah, you still answer for what you
It's
did.
a different kind of punishment. You know, the cardinal deaths, the person wouldn't feel it. See, the Goyim, they don't learn Gemara. They just see one line of the Gemara that's weird, and they just expand on it. They don't know how to learn Gemara.
So you don't feel being suffocated?
Why is yeshiva so important? Because yeshiva is based on one thing, critical thinking. It works your mind, learning Gemara works your mind, how to use your mind.
The dissecting process, right? Like,
That's why when people tell me, oh, I don't like to learn Gemara, I always, in my head, always say, this kid's always going to be stupid. He's just going to be a dumb kid for the rest of his life. Why? Because he doesn't like to think. He just wants to be lazy. He just wants to be a fool. Until you don't sit down with him and explain to him, it's not about what you're learning. It's about how you're learning. You don't like Gemara, no problem. You don't like to learn about the cow and the sheep. No problem. You don't like these topics. But don't do it for the information. Do it for what it's trying to teach you. It's trying to teach you how to use your brain. That's why Jews are good businessmen. We're excellent businessmen. We're excellent in everything. Why? Because in a young age, already at the age of 7, 8 years old, what are they throwing down our throats? Critical thinking. Why did Reb Meir say that? The kid is like 7 years old. I don't know why, Rebbe. I don't know. Think! Use your head! The kid is over there, misken. He just got to learn how to read normally. You take away all the nikudot and you're giving him a Gemara without nikudot. Read it. And the kid's like, oh my God, what do I do? Why did Reb Meir say this? What's with Rabbi Yehuda? And the kid is pounding already at the age of 7, 8, and he's trying to understand the Gemara. And that's why you ask, why already, when he's in high school, his brain is sharper than most businessmen. Wow. Because in such a young age, the only thing he was doing is sharpening his head. It's very simple. That's why we have to learn Torah. Avad, of course, if you go and you actually learn to learn, you want to become close to Hashem, Elamai, that's the best. But understand what's the benefit. Hashem commanded us to learn because He didn't want a nation of idiots. He wanted a nation of smart, intelligent people. He doesn't want us to serve Him because you said so. He wants us to serve Him because I want to serve Him. Wanting to serve Him is learning Torah. What is Torah? Torah is the da'at, is the knowledge of God. It's God's knowledge. In a sense, lahavdil, it's like God's brain. That's exactly what it is. He's saying, I want you to be like me. In order to be like me, you have to learn me. What am I? I'm Torah. And what do we say when we have this opportunity? I want to fly all day, Rabbi. How can I just meditate and feel God? Smoke weed, that's how you're going to get to that level. You can't do that without learning Torah. Who are you lying to? You can't reach that level without sitting and being shakul. What are you going to feel? I see, someone one time told me, I see lights when I close my eyes. Is that spirot? I was like, you're such an idiot. I said, close the lights. You're not going to see the lights when you close your eyes. I said, it's absolute science, you fool. People are looking for things that don't exist. Why? Why are you doing this?
They're reaching that level.
They're not reaching nothing. They live in fantasy land. Right? He's reaching that level. Then you tell him, listen, we can make good money, but we have to do a little left things. Yeah, I'm in. What level is he reaching? 1 second he wants to be Yaakov, the next second he's worse than Esav. Not reaching, you're fooling yourself. You have to commit to it. There's nothing wrong to committing to learning Torah. People think it's a stira. It's a contradiction. Everyone understands there's challenges. At least I understand. There's challenges in life. Okay, it's not the end of the world. So you have to fight it. You have to overcome it. What's the problem? Oh, people are going to look at me. Hell with the people. Who cares about them? You're going to run your whole life based on how he thinks about you? Dafuk. Stupid. He's paying your mortgage? No. He's raising your kids? No. He's living with your wife? No. But then all your decision has to be based on how he thinks? Who's the fool here? You.
What's the fool?
An idiot. No? So how do we make it that we can feel Lag BaOmer? How? What can we do to connect to the tzaddik? To Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai? Now here's the main question. Did he really pass away on Lag BaOmer or not? It's a machloket. Some say yes, some say no. The source that they get yes from is very iffy-affy. Right? It comes from the Etz HaChaim, and he writes some stuff that are not really lamaskana understandable. But if you learn it through a different Zohar in Parashat Vayichi with the story of Rabbi Yitzhak and Rabbi Shimon, I'm not going to say this story now. I'll say it at a different time. How he saved his life, and he says, when you will pass away, there will be a Mahadura that's going to be such a big thing. And only for Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, there's the second most visit to Eretz Yisrael is when? Lag BaOmer. It's the Hilulah, the Rabbah, the greatest Hilulah recorded history. Is when? Lag BaOmer.
People died though, wasn't that?
People die from doing Averot. More than they die from doing mitzvot. Halavai shenizkeh to die like they did, then live how you live. You're getting right now offended.
You're saying them a very big insult.
I tell you why. Because if you can question how those tzaddikim passed away, then there's a blemish in you.
No, it's not question, just sad that way.
You're like making it in a very negative way.
But how's it a good way?
Everything that happens for good. I might not see it as good. It could look a little bit off and weird and A, B, C, D, E, F, G. But Lamais at the end of the day, it's what Hashem wants. And now to say people have to die, what are you doing? You're being mizalzel on the tzaddik.
What's that?
You're disgracing the tzaddik. You have to be careful how you speak, especially about Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai.
I'm not talking about him saying the restriction.
Whatever the case is. What was your question?
How come people say that Lag BaOmer is you can have a school that you're for children on Lag BaOmer, the school of Shimon Bar Yochai, you can be zucked to Zer Shapam. What is that all about?
There is an old segula that if a person can't have kids and he says he goes to Miron on Lag BaOmer and he goes next to the kever, whatever that means. It's not where everyone thinks it is. It's really on the other side. And you go there and you say, I'm making a neder that if I have a son, I will name him after you, Shimon. And there's a segula that a person can get pregnant. Not pregnant through actual physical intercourse. We're not Christians to believe that something came from heaven and got someone pregnant, like retarded people. I'm sorry, but it's called retarded. If a person can believe that something that is humanely normal happened out of a miracle, is a fool. Only things Judaism believes in miracles that are unhumane, not that are humane. Tomorrow, God forbid, someone's wife is going to say, God made me pregnant. If he did it to Mary, why can't he do it to me, right? No, it doesn't go that way. She messed up. She did what she did with somebody. That's it. She messed up. Yeah, her mother's name is Mary. You understand? Miriam.
That's why they...
You understand? Now that's why you know that's what they call that. Whatever.
No. The connection between Parsha and...
Correct. Understand? It's a fallacy. Shtuyot. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. How can you tell me that someone made your wife pregnant? I don't know how people even fell for that trick. That's like the ultimate Jew trick, you know? To convince people that you have no dad. It's crazy. You have to... He mamash learned Gemara, if you ask me. He had to be so smart to get majority of the world fooled. He made so many people fool that he's got. Amazing. It mentally doesn't make sense. You know, there's a mitzvah to make fun of Avodah Zarah. It's so stupid. And what do the Christians do now? They put a white guy. They put white. You think he was white? He was dark skinned, came from the Middle East. Stupid religion. It's so unsensical. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. Islam is even more stupider. They got the whole thing wrong. The Miriam of Yoshka is the same Miriam of Aaron, and is the same sister of this one. They have to respect this. Different times, different cheshbon. So dumb, full of mistakes in their books, right? They say God never makes mistakes, right? Well, he made a mistake twice. He made a mistake in Judaism and he made a mistake in Christianity. They believe there was other revelations. Muslims, you know that. They just believe it was corrupted. But yet in the same Quran, you know what it says? God's words can never get corrupted. So then how did this get corrupted?
Different people wrote it. Probably.
No, because they're stupid. That's my answer. They're dumb. They're uneducated. You know what they have? They have an agenda. They have an agenda. That's what they have. What's their agenda? To stay stupid. Because if they would be smart, they would learn. But they don't want to learn. You want to know why? Because it's easier to stay stupid and have an excuse than to break your head and learn and figure out the truth. That's the answer. We don't want the truth. You know what we want? Kapayim. That's what we want.
What's that kapayim?
Clap. Recognition. That's Yetzer Hara. Okay, let's get a little bit more into manifestation.
Why don't you roll your eyes, bro?
I don't roll my eyes. I didn't mean to. If I did, I'm sorry. You got offended. There is a tissue there. Start. Yeshua.
Which one? We're talking a lot about Yoshua today. This one, the one from back in Israel that became white.
It's sad you put yourself in the same.
I didn't put my Egypt. We're all one.
His name is Yeshua, not Yoshua.
Oh,
Yimach
Yeshua.
Shemo. Shemer Shaim Yekaf. Yimach Shemo.
We'll never respect my name like that.
Now. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, I'm going to finish with this. He wrote a chapter in the Zohar, a separate chapter. Some even have it as a separate book. It's called the Iter Rabbah. Iter Rabbah is where all the huge mysticism is brought about. How did this Iter Rabbah get about? Come. With his infinite, not infinite, right? He's not HaKadosh Baruch Hu at the end of the day, but with his vast amount of knowledge, he found 10 guys. That these 10 guys, their neshama, their soul, correspond to a huge barrel of energy of a specific sphera, a specific attribute and attitude. He found 10 guys, including himself, and he said, we're going to do now a high level of meditation. And they went into the forest, and he started explaining the Hishtashlut, how the world came about. There's something called the Ein Sof, and the Ein Sof wanted to come down. First of all, I said that wrong. It's not that he wanted to come down. He wanted to provide, he wanted to give, but no one was around. So he started to create the world. He created the world because that's the second he decided he wanted to be a giver. But if you're here by yourself, then you can't be a giver. Even though yourself really is everything. And he started to teach them the ways of meditation. How to connect to Hashem, Kudsha Brichu, in the highest ultimate level. And nowadays, this is a study that's being very much taught, and unfortunately very much taught wrong. Because there's no way, this is the klal, in doing yichudim and meditation. There is no way in God's infinite world that He created that you can do meditation without doing mitzvot. Because the physical mitzvah is the energy. The mental meditation is you drawing it down. And if you don't do it together, you don't have anything. So when people say, I don't need to wear a kippah, I don't need to wear a tzitzit, I don't need to be tzanua, I don't need to keep Shabbat, but I'm going to draw down, I'm going to feel good. It's all baloney. It's not something that lasts. It's a spike for a second and then it's over. But when a person combines it, let's say he puts on his talit in the morning and he's thinking he's taking the or makif and the or pini, the two lights, and he's encompassing himself around it. He's bringing sovev or hasovev inside to be memala himself with his talit katan. That's why we say Sfaradim one bracha, because we take the outer light and we bring it into the inner light. That talit gadol is putting it into our talit katan, and you're walking all day with this light on you. We don't know what the tzitzit is. It's too hot, Rabbi! It's the summer, I can't wear tzitzit! Oh, Balbez! This is your or, this is your light! How can you take it off? It's too hot. No problem, Gehinam is also hot, my friend. It's very hot over there. You still have to get used to it. And you put on your tefillin and you meditate. Of course, in a lower level, not in the high levels of Yichudim, when you are combining Abba and Ima and Etzach and Od, you're bringing all these things together. Why is there 4? Why is there 3? And why is there 4? What's the reason that there's 4 compartments and 1 compartment? And you're bringing it. There's a Shin, there's a Dalet, there's a Yud. Why is the name of Shakai involved? You know, Shakai means security. Why in our mezuzah it says Shin Dalet Yud? In our tefillin it says Shin Dalet Yud. Putting on tefillin means the whole day you have a mezuzah on you.
Wow.
That's your kamea. Rabbi, I need an amulet. For what? I think I have this and that. You put on tefillin? No. Where's the head? You don't do the basics, you're flying. Where are you flying to? Where are you going? La'an ata olech? Where are you going? Put on tefillin bizmana. Say Kriyat Shema in Zman. You know, if you don't say Kriyat Shema in Zman, it's worse than, in a way, than doing Chilul Shabbat. You want to know why? Chilul Shabbat you can do tshuva for. It's a light that can come back. Missing Zman, Kriyat Shema, once you miss the Zman, it's over. You can never bring back that or. It's done.
You have tomorrow though.
It's a different light.
Okay, so you start saying about Shabbat, then you have the next one.
No! When you do a mitzvot lo ta'aseh is different mitzvot than mitzvot aseh. Because not to do means you're not making something happen or not happen. But for Kriyat Shema, which is Zman aseh to do, you have to do it. Why? Because you have to draw something down. You need to connect. If you miss that day, you're over. It's a different framework. So people say, oh, what is this? Is it Kriyat Shema? What's it to do? You wake up in the morning, you know you're going to miss Zman, say Shema and call it a day. Then put on your tefillin, daven like an old man.
Just get up and say Ali Shema.
To not miss the Zman. Of course, it's better to get up early and to make sure you go down with the Zman. You know why we don't care? It's not our fault. It's because we never learned it. We never learned the value of every mitzvah. We look at it as like slaves, whatever.
Robots.
I got a robot, I gotta do it. Every mitzvah is a different or. Every mitzvah is a different meditation. Sfirat HaOmer, right? Every day is a different sphera, is a different ball of energy. Why? Just do everyone the same thing. Yalla, tarbitz oto. No! Each one's different. Why? Because every day is a different light. Yesterday's or today's or is different.
How? It's the same thing. If
It's
you're
not.
you just say.
Can I prove to you?
I don't
Can
get
I
it.
prove to you? I'm going to prove it to you through astrology and
No
numerology.
problem with it.
You ready?
Yeah, please.
2 people that are born on the same day,
Okay.
a year apart.
Okay.
Are they the same?
No.
2 people born on the same day. 1 second difference. Are they the same? Every second is a different or. I know this firsthand because I know how to do these things, and when I talk to the people, they're all different. Every month, every hour, every year is a different kochav, is a different or, is a different light, is a different midot. Through knowing all this, you know how to fix. Of course, it has to be according to our mitzvot. You know how to fix yourself. They're all different. Yesterday's Shema is not today's Shema. Tomorrow's Shema is not today's Shema. How come we don't care? Because we don't know. How will you know? Only if you learn Torah. If you don't learn, you'll never know. Rabotai, you have to learn. Vehegita bo yomam valayla. You must. You must. Why? Can I tell you why? I'll tell you why. Because the Torah and you are the same. When you cut the Torah out of your life, you're cutting yourself out of your own life. The reason why you don't feel it is because you're so detached from it, you can't realize it. It's like a husband and wife that really love each other, and let's say one of them have to go on a trip or something. Before the other person leaves, she already feels
A loss.
a little sense of I can't live without you. If If you don't like the person, we'll take another week off. Easy, get out of here. I'm free. But
you need that sometimes.
Chas v'chalila. Chas v'chalila. Chas v'chalila. Chas v'chalila. You never need that. You never need that. You never need that. This is chukot hagoyim. This is the way of retardation. Life's good when you separate from your spouse. You need breaks.
We go to work, so we have space.
That's enough. That's enough then.
That's what I'm saying.
No, you're not. You men move, but sometimes it's good to be away. That's what you said. Yoshua, get it. Yoshua, get Yoshua.
Sure, I think you're not my Rebbe.
Well, only a Rebbe can speak to you?
He gives you her.
I'm not talking about why you mentioned me.
Okay, wait a second. Okay.
It's for you.
Yoshua's, please. Don't be like the other yo. Listen carefully. You machshel zichron. It's not giving kapsakot. Right? It's never good. You know what's good? Going on vacation together. That's good. Leave the kids home and do what you got to do. Unfortunately, this topic is a very big taboo in the Jewish community.
Going on vacation?
No, having a good physical time with your spouse. It's a taboo topic. Because people think if you keep Torah mitzvot, you have to be dull like a rock. It's a problem. It's a huge problem. It's a huge problem. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. But we'll talk about it a different time. It's not true. Lehefech. Lehefech. The Torah commands the man to make sure that everything is good. It's in our obligation. And if not, you're not doing the mitzvah. Ona.
What?
Ona. Having relations. You're not doing the mitzvah. The mitzvah is not for you, it's for her.
Really?
Yeah? It's for her, not for you. You know, al pi halacha, you can't go to your wife and say,
Let's go.
I want you now. You have to hint it, you have to be more tsanua. She can go and say,
Yeah, I know.
She could.
To the point where if you're learning Gemara and you're saying...
okay, you're getting into details, right? You're getting too excited. Right? Whoa.
Doesn't it go to that extent, no?
It goes to the extent
There you
that,
go.
right? There's again, it's nude and so on and so forth. But lama'aseh, at the end of the day, this mitzvah is for her, not for you. Except for when? Shabbat Kodesh. Shabbat Yochaya, mitzvah. That's why all these people that get drunk on Shabbos night, they're going over Yisur. What's the Yisur of Oneg? Enjoying on Shabbat. Enjoying on Shabbat. You have to do it in a balance that you're able to physically perform. You're physically being able to do the mitzvah of Onah, and even if she's pregnant. Why am I saying that? Because people think if she's pregnant, since it's always available, she doesn't want. Hey, you just don't know what you're doing. It's very simple. It's very sad to say. Right? I know guys that they were the biggest players. They got married. Rabbi, she never wants me. What's going on? Rabbi, what do? I say, hi. Now you come to the rabbi? I thought we're cavemen. What's going on? What's this dust, Rebbe? What happened to all the stories you told me about in the club? With the red shoes and picking up all the Spanish people, right? What happened, huh? You know what happened? It was all fake.
No, because it's soft now.
It's all fake. Those women were not women. They were zonot. So to pick up a zonah, it's not a problem. But now you're dealing with your own wife. Oh, things change. You're not married, so don't talk. Things change. The playing field changes. What happens? Right away, it's not just first initial looks that brings an attraction. It's how you act and how you talk and how you get to that point and how you physically get to that, mentally get to that point that should be there. Right? Same thing in everything in life, Rabotai. I'm going to finish with this. Don't miss this opportunity. Bonfires are good. They're nice. All good. Pick up a Tikkunei Zohar and read every day 2 pages of Tikkunei Zohar. Tikkunei Zohar is the biggest tikkun for your neshama. The biggest. It costs $20. You go to the store every day, 2 pages.
You do it on Safari.
No, the point is not to understand it. The point is to read it.
What's the point?
Tikunei Zohar.
You do it on Safari, you know?
You can do it on Safari, but I know from experience when you have a book, it's different. You take the Tikunei Zohar and you read every day, 2 pages, 3 pages. You read it. You read it. I remember my father, when my wife was pregnant, he told me, make sure your wife reads every day Tikunei Zohar, that the child should hear the words of the Zohar coming out of his mother's mouth and into his ears. That's what he told me. He said, make sure, and if she doesn't do it, you should go. Read it to her. Even if she's sleeping, so the baby can hear the words of the Tikunei Zohar. Now, if I did it or not, that's another question. But that's what he told me. He said, how do you think you and your brother became the way you became? He's right. It was his sweat, his tefillot, his bakashot, his ta'aniyot. It's not easy to have kids that are doing good in this world. It's not easy. You better start praying. If you think you have nothing to pray for, no problem. Pray for that. Pray that your zera, your seed that comes to this world, not even one of it should fall off the way.
Wow.
If that's not a reason to pray, then there's no reason to live. You're not a father, so you don't understand that. He just became a father, so it hit him like a train. Right? If that's not a reason to pray, then there is no reason to pray. Because after a certain point, if a father doesn't feel that responsibility to his child, maybe, I don't know, something's wrong with him. Okay, you're going to take advantage of Lag BaOmer? You ready to do the siyum? On camera or off camera?
On camera.
Off camera.
I will do it on camera.
Come on. Come on, yalla. I don't want to waste time.
I want to add one thing before I start to see him. I just
Sure.
want to say-
Say it every time. Here, take this.
Don't put on the Josh. You didn't see him. Go ahead.
I asked my cousin, I'm not gonna say his name. What's it called? When he was doing his first siyum, he's like, I got an extra short haircut on my side. I wore jeans, and I came with a t-shirt. And he's a businessman that's very successful, Baruch Hashem, and he dresses up in a suit usually. So why out of all the times of the year when he's finishing his first Masechta, he dressed up like some kind of noshrut? It's because he's like, I want everyone around me, not noshrut, I'm sorry, that slipped, and I realized after I said it. Can we cut that out? We're the unedited shiur. Take it raw or don't take it at all. He said I did this. It cut out, right?
Yeah.
Baruch Hashem. He said I did this because I wanted everyone around me to understand that you don't need to be some guy with peyot that dresses up with a shrine in Williamsburg to be able to learn Torah or be in the base medrash all day. You could be the guy that during lunchtime puts on Rav Stefanski and opens up a daf and learns while he eats and follows around in the Gemara, and that also is a big zuchut. So what I wanted to say was, I just wanted to share that before I continue. Also, for the record, I say this with shame and pride, and the reason I say shame first was because it was kind of embarrassing. I walked inside here without a kippah, and then I put on my kippah, and I'm not someone that's from myself, but I try to do my due diligence to learn every day, and I hope that those that don't will B'ezrat Hashem also. So in Masechta Ta'anit, this Gemara speaks about basically different during the second Beit HaMikdash. Coincidentally, we're during the times of Lag BaOmer. It talks about how when the Romans invaded Yerushalayim in Israel, how the Jews went through a lot of struggles, and one of the things they were struggling was with water. Water, nowadays we take it for granted. We live in New York, we live in Queens, many people live across the world. Water is not, we have a different type of luxury now. But back in the day, water was it was like a currency, so to speak. And it was very difficult for people to be able to get by without it. And whenever they wouldn't be able to get the water, what would they do? They would have a fast. They would fast. They would say, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, I'm going to break my will of wanting to eat. Not just because I don't have enough to eat, but I'm going to break my will to eat and drink whatever I have so you can break the will of nature for your people. So we should, B'ezrat Hashem, have the zuchut to be able to be blessed with the sustenance that we need. So, it says over here in Daf 31 in Ta'anid. I just want to confirm. I should start off from the end, right? I should just summarize this.
You can summarize it and just go straight to the Hadran. You read this already? Did you read this?
I read up to here.
So start from there.
From there. So I'm just gonna basically say the Gemara explains. The Mishnah said the maidens of Israel would go out and dance in the vineyards. The Gemara explains the purpose of this activity. A Tana taught whoever lacked a wife should turn there to find one. The Mishnah said the distinguished among them would say young men. A Brisa expands on the Mishnah. The rabbis taught in the Breita.
What's going on?
So basically, what's it called? There was certain. The Mishnah basically explains that there was a time in Eretz Yisrael where people would have struggle with shidduchim. You guys think we have struggle just in this generation? We had it back then also. And so there was a time of the year when the women would go to the vineyards and they would dance, if I'm not mistaken, as it says over here. And they would go out and dance in the vineyards. And what? The men would have to go and they would greet them, kind of like this is what. Huh?
Continue.
No.
Yeah, you don't say kind of like. Don't kind of like.
I got you.
Okay.
So basically, they would go there and they would meet the women that would be dancing there, and like this, they would find the shidduch. What did the beautiful ones among those maidens say? Pay attention to the beauty, for a wife is primarily for beauty. Now, the Mishnah alludes to this category when it says, "Young men, lift up your eyes and see what you choose for yourself." What did those of the distinguished lineage among those maidens say? Pay attention to the family, for a wife is primarily for childbearing.
Dafka, I just want to tell you that they would, Dafka, the Gemara brings down in many different Pirushim, they would make sure the girl would be
A good family.
not just a good family, she was a bit chunky.
Heavy.
Why? Because it's known that a woman that's more heavy has a more likeliness of having kids. Girls that were skinny had a hard time having kids.
Is this even true now?
Yes. That's why, another reason, beauty was never by thinness. It was also never by obesity too, guys. Don't get me wrong. I'm not telling you now to find someone that's the size of Kilimanjaro over here and saying, "I'm so beautiful." No, you're not. You're ugly. Right? No, it's a fact. The fact is the fact, right? I'm not here to lie to no one. You get someone that's more or less, you don't have to look for a toothpick, right? You don't want that anyways. You want something that has, how they say, basar ve'yain, and Eretz Chalav Udvash, right? That has a meaning to it. Continue.
Acquire your purchase for the sake of heaven, but only on condition that after marriage you adorn us with gold, jewelry, and beautiful clothing. Ship of a spiritual nature that exists between God and the righteous of Israel. Ula Bira, said in the name of Rav Elazar. Did I say that right?
Sounded Muslim. Allah Bira. Sorry.
In the future, the Holy One, blessed is He, will make a circle of all the righteous people, and He will sit among them in the middle of the circle in the Garden of Eden. And each and every one will point with his finger toward him. Shin Amar, as it says. I'm gonna say this last part in Hebrew because it's the last sentence. Vayomer bayom chachu hinei Eloheinu ze kevinu lo veyeshenu ze chai kevinu lo nagila venismacha beashwato. He shall say that day, behold, this is our God. We hope to you. And He saved us, this Hashem to whom we behold, let us exalt and be glad in His salvation. In a profounder sense, the encirclement of God as it represents a level of divine revelation beyond what is possible for the rational human intellect to experience. The Gemara thus teaches that in the future God will significantly reveal Himself to the righteous, and that further He will perceive the revelation equally for a circle as no head or end, rather all points in the circle are equidistant. equidistant from the center. Similarly, the tzaddikim privilege to join the circle will be in equal proximity to the divine light emanation from the center. Okay, so just to quickly expand on what it says over here, the same way a circle doesn't have a beginning or end, Hashem also will be able to share his divine, he will share and will perceive the divine revelation with no beginning and no end. Yes?
Okay, very good.
Okay.
Adran, read it to yourself, and I'm going to say.
Adran, Allah.
Yeah. Read this 3 times, and then read all this, and then we're going to take on it.
Okay.
Very good.
Okay. Should I face this one?
Say it over there. Say it to yourself. That's it. I hope you close the recording already.